Barb, I wanted to get a little bit more in depth on this development issue because I hear a lot about it in all sorts of campaigns. How do we balance, I mean, if somebody made the argument, well, you know, factory farming is a necessity for our modern society. You know, we have a lot of mouths to feed and it is bad for the land, but how else do we produce the things that we need?
We have to go into sustainable agriculture. We can't be short-sighted on this. The quality of topsoil in the land is not something that is an unlimited resource. It's a resource that we get through good land stewardship, and it cannot happen through chemicals. Sometimes we will use chemicals because we may have an infestation of certain kinds of insects, and we have no other choice. But on the overall, on the balance sheet, we need to go and have things like composting. We need to go and emphasize a more labor-oriented type of agriculture that goes and brings people back out onto the land, reduces crowding in our cities, and increases the quality of life for both people who live in rural areas and urban areas. Right now we have an unsustainable global economic model that is totally dependent on oil to be able to transport our food and other kinds of goods. And we're going to have to go and look at what the future is for us and start planning on how we go and buy locally, and that means we have to raise our food locally, and we also have to produce our goods more locally. And I think that that is a priority, is a long-range vision, but it's an important vision.
You mentioned earlier also that you live in the core. The district that you represent on the school board is in the core. Can you share a little bit about what the core is? I mean, other than the center of the city, what does it mean to live in the core?
Well, it means that actually you have a lot of amenities. Where we live, all roads lead to our area because we're so close to the Capitol. It's easy to get anywhere in this city. It's a matter of 10 or 15 minutes to any area of the city. It's easy to get to jobs because there are a lot of jobs in the downtown area. We have amenities like the Children's Zoo. We have beautiful parks. We have Antelope Park. We have Hazel Able Park. We have excellent schools, I must say. We have McPhee. We have Everett. We have Elliott. We have Prescott. We have Saratoga. We have Park Middle School. We have beautiful schools with great teachers and great administrators. And then we can walk in to have a whole world of knowledge opened up to us through the university. And that's all within walking distance. You won't ever have to get into a car to do any of that. And that's what is so advantageous about living in a core neighborhood. And also what is really neat is that these neighborhoods are often gateway neighborhoods for our newest Americans. And you get to know people from around the world. And they're also neighborhoods where minorities often live. And so you get to go and know your neighbors in a way that you would never imagine. My son gets to go out on the sidewalk and he can go and learn to play and get along with a whole diversity of children and learn about all sorts of different cultures, which if you really believe in the future of our planet, you know that's really important that we understand all these different cultures.
As a representative of this district, how did you feel when there was that Journal Star article a few weeks ago, or maybe it's more than that now, that talked about the core being in the shadow of the Capitol and having, you know, pimps and prostitutes and, you know, sort of labeling it as this bad part of town, in addition to the things you've talked about? I mean, how do you feel about that as a representative of the area and a resident?
Well, I think that those things do occur. I mean, I live there, I know that they do. I do feel as though they were exaggerated by the newspaper. And it's part of my motivation for running for the county board, because I do think that most of the problems we see in our core neighborhoods are an issue of access to something very basic called health care and mental health care. And also there are some basic issues about food, and then there is basic issues about drug and alcohol rehabilitation. And our limited services in that area always have people on a waiting list for them. And I think it's tragic that if you've made the decision to turn your life around, that you would be on a waiting list of, you know, anywhere from 3 months to a year, depending on what your problem is, to get that kind of help. So I feel passionately that we need to reinvest in our core neighborhoods, but I don't think that we should go overboard and think that it's full of negativity, because in reality, there's a lot more positive than negatives in the core neighborhoods.
Well, thank you for that. We are getting close to the end of the show. We're not there yet. We only have a few minutes left, and I'd like to give you a chance to address the audience again as Barb Baier, the candidate, and just if you could really distill down to maybe the 2 or 3 main things that you would hope to achieve on the county commission, and you might want to remind people when they can vote, or again how they can get in touch with your campaign.
Okay. Well, my primary issues are about bringing balance between urban and rural resident needs, going and bringing back public accountability and fiscal responsibility to county government, and then going and emphasizing the value of health and human services for our entire county, including rural residents as well as core neighborhood residents. To get involved in my campaign, again, you can reach me at 402-202-1846 or at the website of www.baierforcommissioner.com, and that's all spelled out. Yeah, I really encourage you to vote as Democrats in the primary, because then you'll have an opportunity to vote for me and many other quality Democratic candidates, and that's May 13th. We will be active in the general election. It's very important that everyone in Lancaster County realize that they need to vote for me during the November election, because though we do get nominated by district, the entire county gets to vote on the county commissioners. So I encourage you to all vote for me, Barbara Baier, for county commissioner. And remember, I love to go and talk with constituents, so please give me a call.
And Barb, I almost feel like I should ask you if you have any questions for me, since you've been in this seat whenever I'm not. But, thank you very much for taking time out of your busy schedule.
Sure.
You've been watching The Watchful Citizen, brought to you by the Lancaster County Democrats. You can find us on the web at www.lancastercountydemocrats.org. Have a great day.
Thanks.